Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our Whole Baby Love Weekly Tidbit video. This week, I will be doing breastfeeding questions for you guys. Heaven knows that we have a lot of those that come up, so I thought it would be a great video. Can I breastfeed if I smoke? Yes. Though smoking can increase the risk of some infant health concerns, including asthma, respiratory infections, ear infections, and sudden infant death syndrome. Smoking can also decrease your milk production up to 28% less. Some tips: try cutting back on the number of cigarettes per day, smoke outside, and wear a jacket that you only use for smoking, and make sure you wash your hands afterwards as well. Can I breastfeed after a C-section? Yes, absolutely. And extra help also helps with the recovery from surgery. Having a C-section is not easy on your body, and you have to really make sure that you have that support because you really have a limited mobility. At the hospital, you may need extra help from your partner or staff to position the baby and switch in between breasts. At home, you will need plenty of rest following the surgery. Keep your baby close to you to avoid getting up and down a lot. Find a comfortable feeding position to avoid putting any pressure on your incision. An advantage of breastfeeding after a C-section, though, is that your baby's sucking stimulates your uterus to contract, which actually helps speed up healing. Can my body make good milk for my baby even if I don't always eat healthy? Yes, it is best to eat healthy to have more energy. If you don't eat well often, you may feel tired and you may become sick more often. You don't need a special diet, though, to make enough breast milk, and breastfeeding often helps keep up your supply. What are ways my partner can care for our breastfed baby? Your partner is giving your baby the healthiest start by supporting and encouraging you. They can help by bringing baby to you when it's time to breastfeed. You can maybe problem solve some different ideas together on how they can help you. Burp and change baby's diaper, wash and bathe baby, play, sing, interact, and soothe baby when needed, play with your other children, take care of household chores like cleaning and shopping, prepare food for you and your family, and even maybe to give you a snack while you're breastfeeding because it tends to take quite a bit out of us. I have a social life if I breastfeed my baby. Well, that looks a little bit different right now, of course, but we're talking about in general. Of course, yes, you can. You can still go out while you're breastfeeding. It may take a little bit of problem solving sometimes, but bringing your baby with you, just make sure that you plan ahead before you leave home. Being prepared and planning ahead will allow you to have a social life. And just know that it is human right to breastfeed anywhere in Canada. Maybe you might want to express milk before going out if you will be away a little bit longer from baby, especially obviously during feeding times. Your milk can be stored at room temperature up to 4 hours or in a refrigerator for up to 5 days. If your social outing includes drinking alcohol, wait at least 2 hours after each drink before feeding your baby to provide time for your body to process the alcohol. Talk to your healthcare provider, though, for further information. I love this photo. This just rounds up breastfeeding for me. I love it. Can I breastfeed if my baby is getting teeth? Though it may feel a little daunting when baby starts getting teeth, of course you can, yes. So it has a lot to do with that latch. If baby does have a proper latch, then you shouldn't have a problem. So a baby that is breastfeeding can't bite because the nipple is at the back of the throat and the baby's tongue is underneath the breast, covering the bottom gums. Some tips to kind of help you avoid these things though. If baby does start biting, make sure you remove baby right away from the breast and maybe give an alternative option to relieve baby if they're having troubles with teething, like something like your cold wet cloth may help them. Learn to recognize the end of nursing because this is the time that biting most commonly happens because they're getting shallower on the breast in which they would be able. Just make sure that you don't force your baby to breastfeed. Make sure your baby is latched well and do not yell, as it actually may cause your baby to completely stop breastfeeding, and obviously we don't want that. So of course, there's going to be, we've all gone through it where maybe we have got caught off guard when baby kind of grazes their teeth on the nipple or actually bite if we're not paying attention. But we want to avoid getting aggravated, of course. It's not their fault. This is new to them too. They're not used to having teeth in their mouth, and you could easily scare them. Can I take medication while breastfeeding? Well, that all depends. So most prescription or over-the-counter medication is safe during breastfeeding, but they do pass into the breast milk in small amounts. So before you're prescribed any sort of medication or take anything, tell your healthcare provider that you are breastfeeding so that they are aware of that, so that they know. Ask your doctor, pharmacist, or public health nurse to confirm whether the medications are safe to use during breastfeeding. What do I do if my baby has thrush? Medication is needed for both mom and baby to treat thrush. So a lot of the time we actually don't notice right away that our baby has thrush. You may notice some signs of just like popping off the breast, crying almost like it's painful for them, or even refusing the breast. Um, so look out for different signs like that. What thrush is a yeast infection in the mouth and or on the tongue, and it looks like patches of white that can't be wiped off. So of course, we've seen milk in our baby's mouth where it's obviously white, but this is white that you can't get off the tongue at all. So if you were to take one of the wet baby cloths and kind of took a little wipe and it's not coming off, chances are that it would definitely be thrush. If only the baby is given medication, though, the thrush will not go away. Both of you have to be treated for it to go away. And just make sure that you see your healthcare provider just so that you can get rid of it properly. Do breastfed babies need water? No. So breastfed babies, they don't need water because our breast milk is actually made of 90% water. So they are getting it. They're getting it through you. Giving water to an infant before 6 months can lower breast milk supply and interfere with baby's growth because they go on you when they need their supply. If they need a little bit more, they're on the breast more, and it could really interfere your supply that way. Breast milk contains everything that your baby needs to grow. So, except in Canada, we find that obviously we need our vitamin D every day because we lack the sunshine in the winter. After 6 months, if baby can sit well and is taking solid foods, then sips of water can be offered from a small open cup during meal times. We just want to be mindful that it's not a lot, it's just little sips, and that it's just not going to interrupt the milk from you or the food that they are getting with their solids. Can caffeine get into my breast milk? Yes, it sure can. So though, especially when we're, a new mom to a new babe, as they're growing, we are tired, we're getting less sleep, and we tend to kind of rely, maybe some of us, on different things like coffee and things like that. But yes, it can get into our breast milk. Caffeine from drinks, food, and medication can travel into the breast milk. Caffeine that can be found in different drinks like cola drinks, your coffee, teas, even Slurpees, chocolate, or even some medications have caffeine. So we want to try and reduce that amount of caffeine per day. If you drink more than 2 cups of caffeine containing drinks per day, it could affect baby, and it could even affect their sleep. And it could mean that you need to actively reduce that amount of caffeine that you're consuming. If I have small breasts, will I produce less milk? No, this does not matter at all. So large or small breasts can produce the same amount of breast milk. It does not matter at all. So the milk is made by glands that surround the surrounding fat tissue that makes the breast larger or small. It has absolutely nothing to do with the milk production itself. Did I give my baby formula after I breastfeed? No, there's really no need to at all. The more you breastfeed, the more breast milk your body will actually make. So unless you're seeing signs or uh, n- no wet diapers or less wet diapers and you're concerned, or it's something that you've talked to the doctor about or the public health nurse, there's really no need. The more you breastfeed, the more your body will make. So the action of breastfeeding signals your baby to make more milk. If your body or if your baby is hungry, on the put them back on the breast. Formula feeding interferes with your body's ability to make breast milk. Um, so it's better not to supplement. You don't need to. Do I have a breast do I have to breastfeed my baby every 3 hours? No. So unless, there is different situations. Like when my daughter was born, she was early. I had her a month early. She was underweight and on a strict feeding schedule, but you do get past that. So unless obviously to a particular situation where where you have been told that you need to feed them more, they don't need it every 3 hours. Every baby is different that way. They have different eating patterns, just like adults do, which can change from day to day. So you just got to listen to your baby's cues. Babies give signs when they are ready to eat. Babies often want to eat just as they are waking. They tend to kind of smack their lips and they search for the breast. Um, and then different things that will indicate, like if they're rooting, um, but crying is definitely a later stage of hunger or a cue. So you just want to make sure that you're feeding them before they cry if you can. It's all problem solving for sure. They learn to breastfeed well by breastfeeding often. Pacifiers or bottles can actually interfere with breastfeeding. The best practice is right on the breast. Do I need to drink milk to make breast milk? No, you don't. If your diet is lacking calcium, your breast milk will still be able to provide enough calcium for your baby. Your body will actually remove calcium from your bones to ensure that there is enough calcium in your breast milk. So you just want to make sure that you're getting that calcium intake in other ways. If you're not necessarily drinking cow's milk, you just need to replace it add it into your diet other ways, especially while you're breastfeeding. It can make you really hungry. Um, so there are many foods that provide calcium in your diet. So just different things such as like yogurt, cheese, even non-dairy substitutes will have that calcium. Canned fish, tofu, almonds, or even a goat's milk would be great. If I wasn't able to breastfeed my last child, will I be able to breastfeed this baby? Yes, you definitely could. If you had trouble breastfeeding a previous child, you may have no problems the second time around. Every baby is different. Every baby will latch and feed differently. If you need help breastfeeding your baby, contact your local public health nurse or go to a breastfeeding support group. Does breastfeeding come naturally to everybody? Heck no. Of course it doesn't. It's actually pretty difficult and it's like it comes with a lot of learning and you are not alone. So, like any other part of parenting, breastfeeding is something that we need to learn. It takes a lot of practice for you and also practice for the baby. And just make sure that you actively reach out for support. And that's my best suggestion, especially when you're in the hospital. I like to tell the parents that I talk to that really nurses are like, they're like angels that way when you're first starting breastfeeding. They should be taking the time with you to show you what a proper latch looks like, how you get them on the breast, and they will work with you. If you feel like that you're not having that support, just make sure that you ask them, hey, do you mind showing me? Because it's really worth, they're so knowledgeable that it's worth getting. If you have any questions, get them in while you can and don't feel ashamed to do so because you can learn great things from the nurses when you're in the hospital. My breast milk looks different now. Is that okay? Yeah. So you're gonna see a difference in the milk when you first start breastfeeding to how it graduates um, into thicker milk. So we'll talk about that. The first stage of milk that you get is called colostrum. Colostrum is the yellow or it's orange in color and it's very thick and sticky. Colostrum also has antibodies that protects your baby from illness and infection. A few days after beginning to breastfeed your baby, your breast milk will start becoming thinner and more white in color. But there's no need to express breast milk to see that this is happening. Your body will just do it naturally for you. And last but not least, but breastfeeding, it's not always easy, but it is always worth it, I promise you. So thank you so much for watching and listening. I will have some options of breastfeeding information and local support down below, so make sure to look for that. But like I said earlier, is that just talk to your doctor or public health nurse if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.